The next one is about people as well, right?
Yeah, I love
so
it.
the idea that and I mentioned something earlier in the conversation about never being the smartest guy in the room. A leader has to be confident enough and humble enough to be prepared to hire people smarter than them, and also be prepared to put people around them that complement their weaknesses. It's a natural tendency for leaders to put people around you who are just like you. Early on in our organization, we did a lot of Myers-Briggs profiling. I don't know if you've ever been exposed to that, but there's a ton of those things out there. This just happened to be the one we used. And interestingly enough, at the time, I'm considered an ISTJ. And interestingly enough, at the time, all of my people who reported me were ISTJs. And we decided then that, wow, we need some diversity in personalities and talents and approaches. And where I'm particularly weak, I need people who can complement those gaps. I'm more of a visionary. I don't like the mundane of managing day-to-day execution of things. I got people on my team now that are good at those things, right? So you got to be able to, and you got to be able to have people on your team that will raise your hand and say, "This is a weakness of yours. You need to let us do this one." I love that when my people will step up and confront me on a gap that I have. That means all the way, by the way, that they have a high level of trust for you when they know they can raise their hand and say, "You're not so good at this. Let us handle it." And it's also good too that they're a recipient of my trust that says, "Yes, you should." But at the end of the day, every leader should know that you cannot take your company to the very next level if you don't put people around you that are smarter than you at what they do.
Earlier, you mentioned that you got to have mentor and coach and become a lifelong learners. So what happened if your circle of mentors or coach recommend you one way, but when you present that idea to your staff or to your team, they disagree and they didn't want to go with that? So
look, at the end of the day, my mentors or coach don't decision for our business. They offer concepts or ideas or opinions about things. If I bring that idea, opinions to my team, and they have differing perspective, I have a high level of respect for my team, and we'll listen and we'll debate it out intently. Certainly as a leader of the organization, I own the final decision. What I have found though is that when you rule with an iron fist, if you say, "By God, we're going right," whether y'all want to go left or not, I find that most people really don't want to go right, won't go right. So if I can't in an effective way convince my people that the mentor's idea that's now maybe my idea should become their idea, that we won't typically execute it. If I can't get their buy-in, I typically won't try to execute it.
Even though,
because it's not executable if everybody around you don't believe in it. So you got to figure out how to convince and persuade them that the idea is a good concept.
got it. Even though it came from your trusted
Look,
coach.
it doesn't really matter. So I don't know that I always talk to them about it being my mentor's perspective. If my mentor shares something with me, I think that conceptually I like that, I'll adopt that as my own. Not that don't want to share the idea with somebody. I'm not taking ownership in that respect, but I don't want my people to know there's a third-party process to this. There's layers of people thinking it through. If I hear an idea, I like the idea, I adopt the idea, I want to run with the idea, I'll throw this out to my team, and if they don't like the idea, I won't come back and say, "Well, my mentor said," that's not what I would do. It would be, "Okay, well, talk to me about why you don't like the idea." And at the end of the day, if I can't persuade, at least I will stall it. I just found that force-feeding a strategy or a business move that I don't have their buy-in on typically means at best I get mediocre execution.
Got it. So you got to have buy-in from the team.
Absolutely.